gonna put off until after we come back. Like we've got cost, average cost, revenue, profit, marginal cost, marginal revenue. Like, there's a lot of words, a lot of terms. And I get it from your perspective, like, if you don't know any of those terms, it feels horribly confusing. And so I didn't want to have to like throw that in there for this test because I felt like you would focus on it too much. It's not going to be a big part of anything regardless, so, but it's because it's different wording. That's what's happened in the past anyway. Okay, so we are going right to, I think it's example 8. It's the last page notes. The first 6 pages of notes are dedicated to money problems. And you know, the person that put these notes together, I think that must be like one of their interests. Like they must really like that portion because they focused a lot on it. No, if you look in Schoology, where I posted the assignment, I wrote down which numbers are non-money problems. And I think it's like 7 problems. Okay, so we're going to start on number 8. So these are basically section 2 was supposed to be motion related problems, like particle movement, just motion. These are non-motion related, and so they just get called other. So Gabby, or Gaby, I don't know. I've never seen Gabby spelled like that. Gabby is working on a project that watches the decline in great white sharks in the Atlantic Ocean. That particular function gives the number of sharks T years since she began working on the project and researching. Find the rate of change for the number of sharks in the ocean after 3 years. All right, let's call on people right away. 3. No, you went yesterday, Sophia. 10. 10. The words rate of change is the most key portion of this problem. All right, ready? Head up onto the board. You can go together if you want. Yeah. You're teaching. I like how you bring your packet even though it's something.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Underline rate of change. These are difficult. Yep. There. That's what teachers do. Do you guys remember what rate of change stands for?
Slope.
Perfect. Slope or derivative. If you see the words rate of change, that is talking about slope or derivative.
Do T first.
Oh, you already like going through the problem.
Oh.
I was hoping underneath your underline, write slope.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay. That's why I said you're teaching, so this is what you do. All right. So you started finding the derivative right away, which is perfect. What? Sebastian, what are you doing? Put away your phone. Owen, put away your Chromebook. Would you guys put away your phones and stuff? Come on. Word problems. You're going to find they have an excessive amount of extra information in them. You should directly read what it is asking you to find to figure out what to do. You don't have to focus on the information in the problem until you figure out what you're trying to find. This one said rate of change, which means derivative, so that was the first thing they were doing. I didn't even look at it yet to see if we're going right, but I'm pretty sure you are. Perfect.
Then you can just put in 3.
Excellent. Actually, these aren't, it should be a calculator problem. Was there a calculator picture on top? I don't think so. Oh.
It might have been on the previous page.
Oh, that's true. That's true. These would definitely not be something you would have to do by
I
hand.
was about to say, I don't know what else to say.
Just write in the numbers and we'll leave it at that. That's it.
Okay.
Nice job. Okay, whatever that calculates out to be.
Why is it the E with the 3, 5, 7, 0, like, why is it it's separate as well? Because you have to change it, don't you have to take the.
So 3570 is a number multiplier, and so that same number multiplier would be in the derivative. So we ignore the 3570 pretty much.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then the derivative of e to any power is to rewrite itself, and then the derivative of the power, which is the chain rule, at the end.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Okay, we'll just pretend we know what that number comes out to be. Table 3. Again, what the heck? It's destiny, I'm sorry. I was hoping you could tell me what the label should be on this. Because when we're dealing with word problems, that's often a focus. Perfect. Sharks per year. Now, my guess is it's going to be a negative number when you type it in. And then that would be how many sharks you're losing per year. Because it's talking about the decline in sharks. So I'm guessing it's going to be a negative rate of change. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know that answer off the top of my head. Although the negative 0.2 at the end probably would automatically make it negative. Because e to a power wouldn't be negative. Okay, excellent. That's 8. So these problems, there's not going to be anything new. It's just all about reading them and figuring out information. Right. It's just compiling stuff that we've learned together. You've learned all the formulas for finding derivatives, and now you're focused on using them. Omar uploaded a funny video of sugar gliders. I believe that's those weird little squirrel things. Okay. We actually had a student here 5-6 years ago, and she would bring in her sugar glider occasionally. I don't know why it was loud, but I am not going into that. Yeah. It's a flying squirrel, essentially. Yeah, like I said, I think it was, well, she was, DCD, I think it's the term, or whatever. So I think it was part of her plan that it's kind of almost like a therapy animal.
Did you have her?
I did not. Well, she would always come to the pods with her sugar glider, and she would show it to us, hey, let us pet it and stuff, and she never let it jump, but I kind of wanted to watch it. Mr. Young is from Wisconsin, and he said they actually have a lot of them in Wisconsin. I didn't even know they were from our area. And he said Midwestern or middle Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, I guess they're very popular. I've never seen one in the wild. I think it'd be cool. Okay, anyway, sugar gliders. Apparently it's a viral video. The number of views T days after Omar uploaded that video can be modeled by the function views equals that. What is the instantaneous rate of change on the number of views 5 days after he uploaded his video? I was actually going to talk about that. 8. Nobody. 10. Again. Wow. 11. Okay. First question. On the previous problem, I actually didn't like that it didn't have the word instantaneous with it, because there are two types of rates of change. There is an average rate of change, which is using the slope formula from Algebra 2 and Pre-Calc. And then there is instantaneous rate of change, which is derivative. So I know it intended and it meant derivative in the previous problem, because that's the whole section. But I wish it would have said instantaneous. I believe on the AP test, they traditionally will try to use the correct, like the specific word with it, because you have to find either or sometimes. So instantaneous rate of change, your guys' question, what does instantaneous rate of change tell you to do? Good.
What did we like round
If it doesn't tell you what to round to, you go to 3 decimal points.
Okay.
Okay, now what I was hoping you guys could do, it looks like you got volunteered, huh? Okay. As you're writing the derivative, make sure to put the label with it. I know
Like at the last answer or like all the way?
were you,
Or should I just write it once?
I got you. So where you plug the number in to get a number answer, which we won't find because we don't have a calculator, that's where you label it. You're right, though. Technically, this would also have the label, but it just feels weird to write it on there. Actually, I don't know if I've ever seen a regular derivative labeled. They generally only label numeric answers, but it's for all of it.
How do I erase?
Erase, put 2 fingers or 3 fingers together, or a palm, yeah. Oh, did you tap the eraser button? I was gonna say, your fingers aren't that big that it thought it was a whole palm. So I'm hoping at this stage that you guys aren't frightened off by actually taking the derivative, right? Like when you're first learning all the derivatives, most of your mental power goes to remembering how to do the derivative. And I'm hoping at this stage, it's not automatic for you yet, but it shouldn't stress out your brain that you get off your phone. Why do so many people keep going on their phones? I'm gonna have to start making you guys put them in there like algebra. Dan doesn't even have a packet out, only his phone. Dan, we're taking the test Wednesday and you don't even have a packet yet. You are not asking me for a retake on this test. You haven't even started any of this. Views per day is perfect. I kind of saw you writing it up before. That's exactly what we need to do. So it tells you the original function stands for views. And so that's always going to be the first part of your label. And then you can write the word per, or write the division symbol, or even write the regular fraction symbol. And then the second or the bottom information would be whatever type of number you plugged in. Because the 5 stood for 5 days, oh, there's a lot of questions. Oh, okay.
Would we have a question like this on the test that we could use our calculator for, so we just leave the answer like that, or?
I was gonna say, if you had something similar, then it would most definitely be write it as simplified as you could do it without a calculator.
We read it as like V per E, or like we have to
Well, say it again?
like V over E as the,
Oh, like abbreviate views?
yeah.
I mean, it's probably not wrong, but I don't know. I guess I've never heard from AP what their thoughts on that would be. I guess I wouldn't abbreviate it unless it's a super common one like miles per hour or something. Just so that there wouldn't be any confusion, like V frequently is the abbreviation for velocity. So that would be the only thing I would worry about, but I guess I've never heard one way or the other.
Could you multiply the 0.5 times 243?
Absolutely. But I wouldn't unless I had a calculator, so
If, assuming that this is a calculator problem, would you just simplify it to the end? Like actually write the full answer?
you mean like whatever number that comes out to be?
Yeah,
Yeah?
okay.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to just keeping it like that, because I didn't know if we got to the answer yet.
We are only doing that just because I didn't have a calculator handy and I didn't feel like,
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah. It's pretty much just to save time.
Okay.
When you simplify down to the final number, and if you end up with a decimal point, would you do on this problem?
should you just take away the decimal point, because it's not very possible to get.
That's a great question. You can't get a partial view.
Round up or round down?
I'm trying to think on past AP questions. I want to say when they had a problem that needed to be rounded, they specified whether you should round up or round down to the whole number. Otherwise, I believe that part of the directions is unless otherwise specified, round to 3 decimal places. So even if it didn't make sense, just round to 3 decimal places. I'm positive we've had questions in the past where it was asking about, like, I know there was a question about how fast bananas leave the grocery store shelf. Like, they gave you an equation on how fast they stock the shelves, and then they gave you an equation on how fast people empty the shelves, and you had to figure out the rate at which the bananas were either filling or leaving shelves, with a combination of the two. But in that case, the rate, a decimal is usually probably acceptable. Like if it asked about number of bananas, then it would have to be a whole number. I guess I'll just make sure on the test to write a question that it doesn't matter, or I'll tell you what to round to. That's a good question. Okay, 10 is actually awfully similar to an AP question from about 10 years ago. They had a question that when it was raining, that they gave you an equation on how fast the pipe was filling with rainwater. And the drainage pipe also had an equation on how fast rainwater could leave. And so then they had a question about how fast the rate of water was changing. So it was similar to this, except it didn't have a table, but that part shouldn't really matter. It's just about how fast it's changing. So using the following table of values for the number V of T of gallons of water per hour that are flowing into a retention pond T hours after a severe thunderstorm. Why do I keep getting the same tables? 12. How about A? This is where I actually think a lot of people would be wrong. So that's what I'm trying to tell you ahead of time. Or what does V, what would be the label on V? I'll ask that. Gallons per hour. So V already is a rate. So A, the label would be gallons per hour, or gallons per hour squared. Yes. Perfect. Gallons per hour. Oh, wait. You guys gotta write it up there. I forgot, I'm not teaching.
On A?
I'm getting paid to sit here today.
Per hour squared instead of per hour. How,
Wait, what did you ask me?
can I just write it squared instead of doing?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Gallons per hour is easier for your brain to comprehend. Gallons per hour squared is easier to write. Totally up to you. They're both correct. How fast the flow of water is changing. So the flow of water is gallons per hour. And think about your bathtub. You turn on the handle halfway, and you've got a flow of water coming out of the faucet. So that would be a number. If you crank the handle up, the flow of water increases, and so the rate of change of the flow of water would be positive because the flow coming out is increasing. So how fast it's coming into the pipe? Yeah, how fast the water is going into the pond is changing. We don't know if it's positive or negative, we just know that how fast the water is going into the pond is changing. That equation, or excuse me, that table tells us how fast. Okay. Do you guys want to keep going? You want somebody else to go? Okay, here, I'm gonna roll, but then just call on a table because I keep rolling the same numbers. 5. Table 5. Can we come on up and do B? Oh, sorry, that's them.
Oh, okay.
You're 6.
Okay.
Where'd you get 4 from?
Yeah, where did you come from? Table 4 is back. It goes like this.
It's a little bit harder now that I shifted them to make more room. When I first put the tables in, it was clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're still waiting for table 5 to come on up.
So,
So you drew some evil eyelashes up there.
yeah, I was just connecting them.
You were trying to make the gallons per hour squared look very evil.
Wait, never mind, never mind.
The rate of change from 1.5 to 2 and the rate of change from 2 to 2.5.
Yeah.
5 minus 0.9.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters. Oh. Yeah. Well, that and you can. There's ways to do it. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we don't have a calculator, so you're just gonna estimate.
Oh, thanks.
So O on yours is roughly 0.5. We're just gonna estimate?
Roughly.
Yeah. Obviously, if you had a calculator, you'd find the exact answer. That one's roughly 0.2.
Then, so the average of those two. So, 0.7 would be 0.35. Yep, so 0.35.
I got a 0.31.
But they got 0.5 though. Well, they did a different point.
You guys are looking at me like I'm supposed to tell you something.
This is correct.
Oh, okay, well, I guess we'll find out. All right, they want to know if that is correct.
No.
Oh, no? Wow. Actually, that's 100% true. Okay, first and foremost, it would be marked wrong because you didn't label anything. But we're going to focus on the number portion. It looks to me like when you were trying to estimate the slope, I believe your evil eyebrows were to show the slope between 1.5 and 2. That was the 0.5-ish you had on the left. And then the slope from 2 to 2.5, which was about 0.2 on the right. And then you average them?
Yep.
Okay? That would be one correct answer. If your numbers are right. I have no idea if your numbers are right. I'm assuming they are. So if your numbers are right, that is one correct answer. I believe that is also the same answer you would get if you went from 1.5 to 2.5.
I got 0.31.
Yeah, they were just estimating.
Oh.
They didn't have a calculator with them, so I told them 0.22 divided by 0.5 was about 0.5. So 0.31 is the actual correct answer, I'm guessing. Okay, so FYI, if you find the slope before and the slope after and average them, that is the exact same answer if you begin to just find the slopes around 2. So if you would have done 1.24 minus 0.93 over 2.5 minus 1.5, that would have been 0.31? Okay, and that was their estimate. And that would be correct. You also could have just done 1.5 to 2, gotten 0.5-ish. You could have just done 2 to 2.5 and gotten about 0.2-ish. All three of those are correct. They accept all three. Now, I would say the most popular answer is going from 1.5 to 2.5, because that feels like it makes the most sense. But yes, the main thing to put up there would be gallons per hour squared. I shouldn't say main thing, but all three of those answers, though, they're all correct. That was excellent. It's hard for me to put the table and the question up there. Explaining the meaning in context of the problem is the rate of rainwater is changing at 0.35 gallons. Let me phrase that differently. 0.35 gallons per hour.
Can you say
Increasing.
equals 2 hours? Like start it with.
Oh, sure.
When, for like an answer kind of like this, you need to be, prime and the two equals whatever your answer is, or you just need to label it as gallons per hour squared.
I would just put both, just to make sure. Like, you're never really positive how they're gonna grade things, and so you just play it safe and include everything. Okay, the last answer, and we'll be done for we have to be done for today. We're done in 7 minutes. The last one for today. When does the rainwater flow begin to slow down? Estimate the instantaneous rate of change at this time. Table 6. You like how I called it even before I landed? I don't know. I've been rolling the exact same numbers every time. You ditching us?
I got you going.
Is this for band lesson?
Yeah.
Why are you guys allowed to leave for band anytime? Why can't people just leave for Kelk at any time?
I decided mine at 2.5.
I see you guys doing stuff, but you're not telling anybody else.
We're conferring.
Oh, okay, got it. You're verifying with each other.
Yes.
Okay, that's acceptable. Yeah, so that was way more conferring than I expected. I can't really scroll it down just because the table's up there.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying, I know.
Um,
How about when is it slowing down?
it slows down right there.
Perfect, between 2.5 and 3.
Yeah, 2.5.
Because that is the first moment where the V of t goes down.
Yeah.
How do you estimate the instantaneous rate of change? We don't need to write that info. There's not enough room.
So, what you have to take,
Yep.
We just
write it.
table.
I'm just gonna write it for me real quick. You take, the V of t for the rainwater flow of 3 hours minus 1.25.
Excuse me while I deliver some Kleenex to the people crying over here.
Anyways, and have it over the time, which would be 3 minus 2.5, and then you would get your instant.
Perfect. 1.05 minus 1.24 over 3 minus 2.5.
Yes.
Yep.
Excellent. We definitely don't want to ask. Okay. These were the problems in our notes that were non-money. In Schoology, where is it? Right here. In Schoology, I marked down it is 2, 3, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14. Yep. And most of them are similar to what we just did here, where there's not a ton of work involved. It's about trying to figure out what the problem is asking. And between the 3 sections, I feel like this is probably a really good chance for you to bring your grade up if you weren't happy with your grade from the first test. And we have 3 days to go through all the different homework.